Welcome to Pay-to-Play report on Fantasy Wars. It's a 2007 game that it was developed by Inoko and published by 1C. It's a PC exclusive and it's a turn-based strategy with a quasi-limited force type of gameplay. Well, when I say it's quasi-limited force, it's because the game limits the number of units you can have on the map, but it does allow you to hire back a unit if you lost one. So there's, it's not exactly like a limited force completely. So let's look at the visual settings for the game. As you can see, I have everything on maximum here. There's not that many visual settings here available there to play around with, and generally, like right now, it's showing me that it's running at 200 FPS, pretty high up. Generally, if the game runs higher than 60, no problems. I did have while I was going through just practicing through the video, I did have it kind of hiccup once, and I saw just happening again. It might be because I've been running the game for quite a while. Maybe something, if you run the game for too long, it begins to have hiccups. Maybe it's something else that's running in the background on the computer that's causing this. But generally, no problems running the game. It's a 2007 game, but shouldn't have any problems. But I will be posting my hardware specifications in the description of the video, so you'll know exactly what I'm using to run it. Now, in the game itself, we have 3 campaigns here that we can play through. One for humans, one for orcs, and one for elves and dwarfs. Now, the first 2 campaigns are available from the very start. The third one will only open up once you complete one of the first campaigns. The first 2 campaigns tell the story of war between orcs and humans, while the third one kind of puts a twist on it because it tells us what elves and dwarfs have been doing, and it kind of changed the narrative a bit about what's going on in the actual war between orcs and humans in the end. But it's not much of a twist, but it's kind of interesting enough to add a bit to the story itself. So that's what we have here. Well, let's load into the actual game itself, and I'll show you a few things about it and talk about it at the same time. Let's not jump too far in, so there's no spoilers, and at the same time, I'm not putting into something. There's way too many complicated things going on already without introduction. Now, the game will introduce the world itself a bit in its intro, what you need to know, but if you need to know more about the world, that's only available in the instruction manual itself. Throughout the game, as you play, it will also talk about some things and kind of fill out the things, so it's not necessary to read the instruction manual to get the full kind of well, you need to read the instruction manual to get the full story, but you don't need to if you don't want to. You're not gonna lose out much of a kind of plot and stuff like that. So here we are. I can rotate the camera here if I want to. I can zoom in, zoom out. In settings, I can control how my units appear. Right? They can appear as one big unit, as a representation of a whole unit, or they can appear as individual soldiers in this case. And if the individual soldiers, you can see they have slightly different equipment. Here they also have, so generally, though, you can tell who's a friendly units, which are the enemy, different flags. You can tell what kind of enemy units they are by clicking on them. They'll tell you exactly who you're dealing with. So visually, in terms of interface and so on, I have no problems with the game. The game will use the same basically the same models here used in the gameplay itself for the cutscenes as well. So that's kind of was something that in 2000s was very popular to do in strategy games. So there you go. And during the campaign, what I would say is that overall in the storyline of the campaign, the themes that we have here is pretty simple. We have the good versus evil. There's also a theme of magic versus religion, and the theme of lust for power and corruption, and so on. So very straightforward, nothing too complicated, nothing too fancy to the themes. Well, let's get to the actual gameplay itself. So if I look here, here's all my units that I have available to me, and the green circle above the unit portrait tells me that I can actually move this unit because it has available ability to move. So here it is. I can send this unit here, and they will walk there to that location as I indicated. But that's, if I don't want to wait for them to walk there, that's also available for me, is that if I send them there, I can just click once and they'll get there. So it's kind of a way to resolve the actual whatever's animation is supposed to be immediately. The red dot next to the unit portrait indicates that they can attack. In this case, they have nobody to attack here, but this unit here, well, they can in range attack the enemy here. They don't have the red dot because I think they already did the attacking part. So I think this one is the only one that can attack. Left that can move also. So I'm gonna walk them over here, and I'm gonna engage in combat, and hopefully it will also show us how sometimes that looks, because not always, but the game sometimes does zoom in to show you the combat. Also, as soon as I point at the enemies, let's say I want to attack the ones that are sitting inside this fortification, the game will tell me what's gonna happen pretty much. It's gonna tell me that you're gonna lose 7 of your soldiers, enemy's gonna lose 1 of your soldiers. Now that's not 100% guaranteed. The game will actually might resolve each time slightly different, so we might lose more, it might lose less soldiers, but around there, like 7 and 1 is what you're expecting. And so I'm gonna attack here, and we're gonna see, well, the game is not showing me the combat, it's just showing me from the top like that. Sometimes it does a kind of a zoom in and shows the combat. In this case it didn't, so oh well. You're not exactly gaining anything like that. It's just kind of a neat little detail there. And so because we suffered such a heavy losses, our soldiers here, the militia, they have a low morale now. They're a broken unit, and usually when you see such a unit on the battlefield, that means they can be easily defeated by almost anybody. So therefore what you should be doing is pulling them out, from putting them somewhere else and resting them, so that they are not completely destroyed. That's a way to kind of rebuild with strength. So generally, depending on where the unit is standing, on what kind of terrain, that will grant them bonuses. So in this case, the enemy was inside fortifications, and that grants bonuses. So if my militia was inside fortification, it would have had +4 to defense in a bonus, right? So, some units will prefer to be on the open plain. The cavalry likes open plain, so putting it, let's say, into the forest will not be beneficial, but on open plains they do much better. At the same time, if I put them on the hills, it gives me +2 to the cavalry. Other units like this one gets a +4 from the hills, +4 from forest. But if I move in and say I want to put them into the river, it gives me -4 to defense. Now, sadly, the game does not show you the bonuses that you gain from standing on different terrain to your attack values. There are bonuses like that, and the instruction manual again gives you that. Eventually you'll be able to figure out which unit does more damage from which terrain, just through sheer trial and error. But I can tell you from the very beginning, any unit that stands in the water usually has a very low attack values, very low defense values, so don't do it. It's not something that you should be doing at all. Try to avoid standing in the water. Now, what else to say? Well, on the map here we have some other things. It's some space to explore the map. So here we have some caves, so it looks like here we have an altar. So exploring these areas will grant you usually some kind of artifacts that will give you a bonus. So example is this: my main hero here has an artifact. It's a burning sword, which gives him certain pluses. The artifacts will give you additional things available, bonuses to you in terms of attack, defense, movement, and so on and so on. These are great, and these are usually very useful. So it's something that you should be doing, is exploring the map and kind of like picking up all these bonuses along the way, because you're gonna need them. Like I played this game on the hard difficulty, the highest difficulty here, and as a result, in order to be able to play it well consistently, you have to pick up all the artifacts that are made available to you. Otherwise, you're gonna be struggling. Well, I think that's all I can show you on this map. Let's jump into some other mission more advanced, and I can show you a few more things. There would be easier. Yeah, let's try this one. So here we are. What I should also mention is that this loading screens and the main menu is also different depending which campaign you're playing. So if you're playing for the humans, it will be human related. For orcs, it will be orc related. For elves and dwarves, it will be dwarf related pictures. So here we are. We're further ahead in the actual campaign. So few things I can show you here is that, well, first thing first, here's my eagle, and it's showing me this symbol that it's actually gain a level. You gain levels through experience. As your soldiers fight, they gain more levels. This one has level 1 experience. This one has level 0. So as they gain experience, they gain ability to get new perks. So here, there's example of the 3 perks that are available to me right now to pick. Is one will give +1 to defense, one +1 to attack. The other one will actually do something else. It will make neighboring units, enemy units, scared of the eagle, and so they'll have a -1 to their attack. Right. So depending on which one I want, I pick one of the 3, and so on. Each time I gain a level, there will be slightly different perks provided to choose from. So that's well, first thing I can show you here. The other thing is that well, different units have different perks. I can show you. I think this one's, or I forget. Maybe this. There's one unit that actually has nope. Oh yeah, this one's do actually. This one has a perk that actually decreases the negative values they get from standing in the water. So that's kind of a beneficial perk there, right? But let's say cavalry, human cavalry has a perk that's not beneficial. It's the fact that they're impetuous, so they will attack any enemy they actually see in their line of sight after movement. And so if I send my cavalry here, and they'll automatically attack an enemy, even if I didn't want them to attack that enemy, because maybe the enemy is too strong, or maybe if they'll deal too much damage to this unit, and I want to lose this unit, I want to say to use it for defensive purposes. Well, I don't have no choice because my units decided to attack the enemy here, and that's, you know, they suffer casualties. Talking of casualties, actually, let's show you something. As you can see, the banner above my unit shows you me that this green. This is the number of healthy soldiers right now. This is the ones that we're seeing. Red, that means wounded, and black means killed. If I rest my unit, the wounded ones will come back. The black ones will not come back. I need to hire them back. If I'm standing next to a town or a city that I'm controlling, or a camp or so on, I can hire back the units, hire back soldiers into the unit, but that will decrease my experience. Something that you don't want to really do. I will explain later. But like in this case, let's see, I did talk about the fact that the game has a limited force situation here, and what we have is this situation is that the game is telling me that there's 12 units maximum that I can have on the map. I already have 16. That may be because I gained some units while playing the mission itself. They might be being granted to me, so that's why I have extra units here. So if I had below 12, what I could do is actually I could go into the screen and hire new units or deploy new units from my reserve. That's also available to me, and I can deploy them next to towns, cities, camps I can control. So all that, of course, is done through using gold. So let's talk about why I don't want to here kind of hire soldiers back into the unit, losing experience and so on. Experience is very valuable because it gives you perks, right? And you don't want to hire too many new units either to replace the lost ones, because that means you're using up gold that you can use to upgrade the units. And what do I mean by that? Well, all units actually upgrade themselves. So if you start out, let's say, with peasants, they can be upgraded to militia, which can be upgraded further to swordsmen, to halberdiers, or to spearmen, depending which kind of a path you want to choose for that unit. Similarly, bowmen can become archers, so they can become crossbowmen, and so on. The cavalry gets upgraded, the eagles get upgraded. So all this is kind of a paths available to you. So you want to keep your most experienced units, and you want to upgrade them with a new, with better kind of equipment, because it improves your attack, defense values, and so on. It also gives them new perks and all that. Because if you're playing the game, especially on hard, it will be very difficult for you to complete the whole campaign on hard, and do so at what would be called a gold level of completion. And what do I mean by that is that, well, if I look at the missions here, like the mission log here that tells me all of my main quests, it also gives me additional quests, which also grants certain perks, so you should be completing them as well, as much as possible, is that the game is telling me that I have 2 turns left for gold completion, 6 turns left for silver, and 14 for bronze. I get a better reward if I finish on gold than I finish on silver, on bronze, right? Because I get either more money, I get additional new units, and I get artifacts. Without kind of more money and artifacts and so on, you're gonna be running very soon behind in terms of ability to completely continue to finish the game on gold difficulty, and it will be harder and harder because the opponents will be, the enemy soldiers will become higher and higher in terms of your values, because enemy soldiers are also will start getting upgraded in levels and the perks and so on. If you have your raw level 0 units without any artifacts on them, it will be very difficult to fight. Well, what other units actually we have, I didn't show you that, is that we have artillery here. I should have shown that before I started talking about other stuff. So we can fire across the map here, well, to a certain distance, not too far across the map. Who can actually fire across the map is these mages. The mages have spells that can do pretty much across the map here. It's not that big of a distance, but something that's possible. So mages and the general units, generals here are the hero units who deal with a lot of damage. They're actually very strong, and so in the first missions you do rely a lot on them, but they are vulnerable. When it comes to my general unit in the campaign, it's if he dies, that's it, it's game over. So you should not lose that unit at all. For the other hero units like other mages and so on, losing them in the campaign, in the mission, it does not mean that they die in the campaign, so they'll be available next mission again, but you do lose the fact that you access to all the spells, something that you really want to have because they are very beneficial to have. So again, something that you keep in mind. You cannot just kind of assume that your heroes will do all the work for you, but you have to be you have to think through how you move and attack the enemy, because the enemy will take advantage of your blunders. So in this case, I left my archers here exposed, so if I decide to end the turn, I'm pretty sure that what will happen is that they'll try to attack the archers here to plow over them, because for cover it's very easy to kill off the archer units, or because my hero here is low morale, they might attack him and to kill him off and so on. So it's I need to kind of make sure that I move my units and think through all my decisions, but at the same time the turn limit on the campaign itself, on the mission itself, forces me not to become too conservative and not just do minor movements and watch as the enemy breaks against, let's say, my heavy infantry or something like that. I still have to rush kind of sometimes and kind of try different strategies and so on to do so. So there's a certain ability to think that I need to think through for certain things. All right. So I think that's kind of everything that I can show you inside the game itself. What else there is to do besides the campaign? Well, there's 4 single-player missions. They're all kind of related to the campaign and to the story. I didn't play through them because by the time I finished the campaigns, I had enough of the game, this type of game, so I decided not to go in. But it's something that's available to you if you want to play through. Multiplayer, I'm not sure if you find anybody playing the game, so I'm not sure how useful that is. But if you want to replay the campaigns, it's possible, and then you can tweak and choose whatever units you want to, maybe complete the missions differently, and tweak and choose the perks and so on. That's min-max, so that's available to you. Again, after I finish these campaigns, I kind of was done. The story is not worth multiple playthroughs. Let's jump inside the further completely. This is actually in the Elven campaign. So in this case, overall, like I said, the story is not worth playthrough second times, but I did enjoy it enough for the first time around. So overall, I would have said that this game is a good game, but there are some issues. So here we are in Elven campaign, but we're playing for the works. It's kind of weird, but missions do kind of change here. Here we got another mage. Well, we can summon this wolves here. That's another spell that's possible. I can see the mages can learn many spells, so there's availability here for me to choose from which spells I can do. And I can send this unit here and attack this enemy here, right there. That's also possible. So overall, like I said, I would have said this was a good game because I like the turn limit and stuff like that, and the story is okay enough. But there's a problem. It's a 2007 game, and it has problems with modern antivirus software. Some of the antivirus software will prevent this game from launching. And I tried different things with some of them, and they just it doesn't it just stops them. There's nothing you can do. Exclusions didn't work, nothing like that. So you have to kind of find the right antivirus software that hopefully it will work and so on. I picked around. I've used a slightly older version of something to be able to play this game. So that's not good. That's the first thing, right? Second thing is that if you shut down the game, it doesn't really shut the game down completely. So, by the way, some orc units are also, like I mentioned, that they'll attack by themselves. So this case is one of those orc units that attacks by themselves. So the other thing is, like I said, the game, when you close it, does not shut down completely by itself. You do have to go into the task manager and Windows and kill off the process. It will close, but it will run into the background, that type of situation, right? So you have to use a task manager to close it. It's not that big of a problem compared to the antivirus problem. So for that reason, I would say it's an okay of a game now. So generally though, because you have the spells, you have dragons in this game, all this kind of adds together and makes this game cool. So overall, I would say it's an okay game. It's a cool game. Well, that's all I have to say about the game. Thank you for watching and for listening. If you like this video, please like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it, then please follow and subscribe.